Hi, everybody. I am here at the Black Bear Film Festival. Our opening night film was Boris Karloff, the man behind the monster, and I am here with the co-producer. Did I get that right?
Yes, you did.
I did.
Yes,
Oh my
you
God,
did.
10 points for me. Ron McCloskey. I have so many questions for Ron because I am a big Boris Karloff fan. That was our opening night film. Obviously, lots of people love Boris Karloff.
Oh no, yeah, it was sold out, and it was just great. Wonderful film.
What is a wonderful film. It's a 2021 documentary award winner. Could
Yes.
you show everybody that?
This is the Rondo Award, and if you're talking to everybody this week having to do with monsters and horror film, whatever, they are going to know about the Rondo. This is the Oscar and the Emmy and the Tony of that world, and we won it.
So, and you got it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure totally well deserved.
Thank you.
I had a chance actually to read some reviews about the film, and it was the insight into Boris Karloff's life
Right.
that you showed the dimension that he had. People don't know that he was a very legitimate actor.
Oh, sure. No, a lot of people don't realize that this man succeeded in everything. He first started in silent film and then in sound. From there, he went to radio, then he went to live television. He had a recording career. Amazing what he did. He was nominated for a Tony, and he won the Grammy.
Absolutely incredible. What turned you on so much about him that you wanted to be involved in a documentary about him?
Well, it first started, believe it or not, when I was 7 years old.
Oh my gosh.
7 years
No,
old.
me too. It was like
Well, I got my first monster model, Frankenstein, the kid.
Frankenstein.
And during that time, you have the magazines on the newsstands, Famous Monsters of Toneland. And then you also had the movies late at night. And between all those things, I just got caught up in it. So first, I was attracted to the film and what that represented. And then as I got older, I was attracted to the actor and what he did.
Right. I totally get that. Okay, what was it about him? When we were little kids, right, we had icons. I had two, Lassie
Okay.
and Boris Karloff. if you can believe that. And what it was about him, it was the eyes.
Right.
It was the hypnotic voice.
Yes.
Okay, and it was every nuance that was in the face. What
Right.
what turned you on so much about him?
Well, the two I had was Boris Karloff and Stan Laurel.
Oh my gosh, that's so fun. They're like diametrically opposed
Right.
people.
And they're both from England. And Stan Laurel and Chaplin performed together. And here was the difference I found with Chaplin. Chaplin, as funny as he was, I think he was aware of his performance and how funny he was. Stan Laurel, you actually thought he was stupid.
Right.
And yet Stan Laurel did as much as Chaplin did, writing films, directing films, but just a funny man.
Well, but Stan Laurel, now that we're on the subject of comedy, my other favorite subject besides horror, Stan Laurel, that was his role, okay, to be the dumb guy. You know how there's in a comedy there's a straight man,
Right.
and then I did a comedy last night. You know, the lead comedian, every outfit he came out in,
Okay.
people laughed because Iacobelli visually is a
Right.
very funny person.
Right.
And we're talking about visual. I think besides the fact that Boris Karloff was such an amazing actor
Right.
and such a diversified actor, it was his persona, and I think 3/4 of what horror is a persona of the
Sure.
actors.
Well, here's the great thing about Karloff, which is so unique. I don't think anyone else can claim
Please
this.
share.
Boris Karloff was the only actor to be with 3 major comedy teams. He
Okay,
was
I
in a
didn't know
film
that.
called Pardon Us with Laurel and Hardy. He was in Abbott and Costello Meet the Killer with Abbott and Costello.
And I know that one.
And he was on radio with Martin and Lewis.
Get
So
out.
he did all 3 teams. Isn't that something?
All right. So you must have unearthed all this backstory about Boris Karloff when you were researching for the film, right?
Oh, sure. No, he had such a career. It was wonderful. Again, I started long time ago. Nowadays, thank God, you can see almost everything on television, on
Yeah, you
YouTube.
can.
It's great. All you got to do is click into it. But what we point out in this film is just how powerful he was, how adored he was. He was so well liked. And women used to comment on what beautiful eyes he had.
He did. He had like those big soulful eyes.
Yeah, he did.
The
And
kind of eyes that make a woman swoon.
Julie Harris, who is so close to him, she ended up winning the Tony for The Lark, and he was in that in The Lark in 1955.
Wonderful.
Thank God it was also broadcast on television. So
Right.
you can go to YouTube and you can see that performance, and he was just great.
I love it. How long did it take to make this documentary on him?
Well, there's a short version and a long version. The short version is I met my film partner, Thomas Hamilton, 4 years ago from London, England.
Okay.
And within 4 years, we made the film. The long version is I first picked up a camera in 1997. So that's 25 years ago. And I just was determined to make this film. I became very close with Sarah Karloff, his daughter. And I just told her the day I met her, someday I want to make a film about your dad. She smiled and said, okay, let me know when it happens. Meaning like,
right.
I don't think you're going to do it.
Right.
But it did.
Yeah, buddy, let me know when you're ready.
But she's so thrilled and so happy.
But okay, here's the story here then.
Sure.
The fact 27 years.
Yeah.
You like sat on an egg until it hatched. Why the determination? Had you done other films?
No, he was just so determined himself. And
right.
So he was my role model. Saying
that
if you're going to do something, keep at it. Do not stop. Just keep working. And that's what he did. He was really an unknown until Frankenstein.
Right.
His whole life turned around. He was 44.
Right.
He was going from film to film. By all rights, he should have given up. He should have quit, but he didn't.
Love it.
His whole life turned around, and he never turned anything down after that.
Ron, your message for filmmakers, for actors, for anyone that's in the entertainment industry, this is a really important message. And you actually just gave me something, okay, that I will share with people. I believe you never give up. Okay, you set your eye on the prize and you keep going. And I'm sure, and I'm going to ask you this because you probably know, did he run into any pitfalls along the way in his career, things that might have stopped him?
There were several times in his career where he had hoped things would change. One was a film he made in 1925 called The Bells, and he really thought that it was such a great performance that he would be noticed. Nothing happened.
There you go.
He was in a play called The Criminal Code. He actually says in talking about his life, he left his dressing room door open for all the people to pour in to say how great he was.
I totally love
nothing happened.
it. That's something I would do. Where are my accolades? That's great.
But here's the nice thing. So because of The Criminal Code, when they went to do the film version, Howard Hawks, wonderful director, picked him for The Criminal Code, and that movie really then started the door opening, and eventually it led to Frankenstein.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. What an incredible story. So this, for you, in many ways, was a passion project.
Oh, it was a labor of love. Absolutely.
Labor of
and
love.
I had a chance to meet so many wonderful, great people in the business
that
just adore him. I mean, John Landis, Guillermo del Toro, just great people.
I know in the film, and again, I have to catch up with the film,
right.
There were some really incredible quotes that people made about him.
Yeah.
They really sang him praises.
I think he really remembered his struggle. He remembered when things were not going well. And once he got to a place where he could perform and be the star, he wanted to treat everybody equal. He wanted to make sure everyone was appreciated for what they did.
Oh my gosh, that just about says it all. Well, Ron, what is your next project? This was huge. I mean,
well, believe it or not, I do have another documentary in my head.
In your head,
completely opposite from Carlo.
Oh, I love that.
Jerry Lewis.
Oh my gosh, Jerry Lewis. Okay, that's another name I grew up with. I used to be glued to the television for the Jerry Lewis telethons. Yeah. I don't even know what it was. I didn't find him funny, but there was something that was engaging about Jerry Lewis.
Yeah, he did so much in his career, and again, he not only achieved it, he exceeded it.
Right.
He starred in it. He owned it, and people just really loved him. And again, the muscular dystrophy telethon he did. Great stuff, and that's what I want to do next.
And I love that you're going to do something about that, because when we talk about Jerry Lewis, we really have to talk about he is a prime example of paying it forward.
Yes.
Those MS telethons raised a lot of money for muscular dystrophy.
Yeah.
And, for many actors, it's the magic of celebrity that allows you to raise money and really make a difference in the world.
But now here's the interesting thing that is, again, different from Carlo. He was loved and hated equally.
This is true.
People are not on the fence with Jerry Lewis. Either they loved him or they hated him.
My mother hated him. She would say to me, get that off the television, the black and white TV that we had. Get that off the TV. He makes me sick. I don't know why.
But unfortunately, he also had a bad reputation in working with people.
Right.
And on one hand, you can say the guy was a saint. He's beautiful. I love him. And another person will say, I'll never work with that guy again.
Right.
So he had an unusual life. He's quoted by saying, I'm a complicated man.
Yeah.
And he truly was, in my opinion, a Jekyll and Hyde. He could either be the sweetest guy in the world.
Or a nightmare.
Or a nightmare.
Right. Well, listen, that's life. We all meet people, right, that are like that. That's what makes horse races, as we say. So you said you're into horror. Do you go to the horror festivals? I have a lot of friends that go to those. That's why I'm asking.
Sure. In fact, the biggest and longest, and as far as I know, the most successful one is called Chiller Theater. That is in Parsippany, New Jersey.
And I know about, okay,
Right.
so.
It's run by Kevin Clement. And not only can you go there and see horror stars, but you can see TV stars and movie stars.
Yep.
And it's so wonderful. It's been going at least 30 years or more. One of the people that was the kingpin behind that was also John Zackerly. And he was my host to all those horror films when I was a kid.
Zackerly!
Yeah.
Oh my God! Okay, now it's like I'm loving this conversation. Yeah. He was scary.
Oh yeah.
But I was so like drawn to him as a little Zackerly.
Yeah. No, he was delightful. He lived to be in his 90s. I became friends with him. I ended up, in the course of doing things creatively about Frankenstein, I created what I call the Frankie Award. I gave the Frankie Award to Zackerly, and he just loved it. He loved it.
So do you attend like FearCon and there's so many horror festivals now. People are really into horror.
Well, I've expanded a little bit. What I did is I did an event in Lexington, Kentucky, called Wonderfest. And that's where these people, and now you have to understand the difference here, okay? When people say, oh yeah, Wonderfest, it's just people that do models. I disagree. These people are artists.
Oh my God, it's incredible art.
The detail, and these are almost like sculptures. I mean, beautiful work, and they take hours and days and weeks to perfect it, and then go to Wonderfest and display their work. It's just wonderful, wonderful stuff.
Well, yeah, I love that you're paying homage to that creative aspect of it. And let's talk about the makeup, the special effects makeup in horror films. The actor Bill Opes Jr., who's in so many horror films, I said to him, like, what's the thing that you think people react to the most? And I asked the FearCon people this. There's something about an amputated limb. And it's even better when it's like, when it's ripped off and dripping, okay? Because at the end of the day, right, when we're watching a film, it's a thing that's going to be, we use words like chilling or spine tingling.
Right.
As human beings, I think the fact that when we're not perfect human beings, if we're something violent and we're missing a limb is happening on that screen, we experience what we call the fear factor.
Right. Karloff was very aware of language.
Yeah.
And he did not like the word horror. He thought that was the wrong word. He felt that his film should be called terror or even thriller. And that's what he thinks was better than the word horror. But horror actually started with Dracula and Frankenstein.
I didn't even know this.
There was no category until those films came out.
You know what? You learn something every day. Now, do you remember Thriller Theater?
Well, but his TV show, he had his own show.
Thriller,
Then he had a line of comics with Thriller. I mean, if Karloff had lived, I'm almost sure he would have had his own theme restaurant.
Wow.
And it would have been all decorated with his stuff.
That's such a great idea for a business for somebody. My God, Ron, your next project.
Yeah.
I want to thank you so much for being here at the Black Bear Film Festival. It's such an honor, really. We are a little town and we are fierce.
Yes.
Is this your first time in Milford?
First time, but I'm telling you, I'm loving it. I've already talked to several people here, and I think I will be back with more projects.
Oh my gosh, I love hearing that. Ron McCloskey, winner. Black Bear Film Festival. And can you hold that up one more time for me? I think that's great.
Looks a little bit like me.
I was going to say that. So I hooked into filmmakers. I'm so happy. We are next screening their film. It's called Broke In. It's interesting because you had broke first and then the end.
Right, yes.
So what do you call the film? You call it Broke or Broken?
We call it Broken.
Broken, okay.
And our tagline, Americans are broke, America is broken.
Americans are broke, America is broken. And I'm actually going to see this film because when I saw that tagline, I'm like, this film is for me. I am here with Michael Shelp and Alan Youngkin. So welcome to the Black Bear Film Festival.
Good to be here.
It is a wonderful town, isn't it? Are you enjoying Milford?
Yes.
Great. Where are you guys from?
Allentown, Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay. So you're Allentown's like it's local, really, for us. I'm in New York and in Pennsylvania, so I know Allentown
We're
quite
in New
well.
York also.
I'm sure
in Manhattan.
You're in Manhattan,
Yes.
so you weekend in Allentown.
We live in Allentown.
And they weekend in New York. I love that.
Yes.
That's like reverse osmosis.
And when we spend more than half the year in Pennsylvania, if you take my meaning.
Okay, I got it.
But we love Pennsylvania, but it is our residence.
Right. I got the whole drift.
And
So
our vote counts in Pennsylvania.
right. Whereas I'm registered in New York because that's where my business is, and I can't help out here. But I do help out here because I am part of the motivational group that financially supports things and gets people out to vote. So we can all do our part.
Exactly.
And why do we have to do our part? Well, I'll tell you why. This is why they broke the film. America's broke. It's broken.
Yeah.
And I saw that, and I thought, what a great thing to make a film about, especially now. What was the motivation?
Well, okay, so I'm turning 60 just in a couple days.
Oh my God,
and
look
Thank
at you,
Thank
fountain of youth right next to me.
I have 3 kids, Alan has 4, but our kids have it much tougher than we did when we were that age. When I graduated from college, I got a job in New York, well, first Tokyo, then New York, and I was getting paid around $30,000 a year, and that was a good salary.
Right.
But you could buy an apartment in Queens for $65,000. And now kids in New York, like, you might get 40, maybe 50, but apartments are like 400,000, 500,000.
Right.
And healthcare's out of control. It's just much, much more difficult. And then of course they're graduating with all this debt. I went to a college, a private college, it was $14,000 a year. That same college, I think, is like $80,000.
That's it. I love that. Okay, so I have a
insane.
30-year-old daughter,
Yeah,
and
as do
I'm
I.
and I'm right here with you. At $75,000 a year, she's like barely making ends meet.
Exactly.
Right.
So
It's crazy.
So you graduate from college with all that debt. You can't buy a house. You can't do anything.
It's the trap. We
and
call
it's
it
a trap. It's a trap. So we wanted to interview, but this film actually we interviewed just people who are struggling economically, who are working class or maybe a little more struggling a little more.
In the film.
Yeah, right.
Right.
We interviewed 12 people at random.
Okay.
And the thing that's different about this compared to other documentaries, we didn't audition hundreds of people and choose the 12 most compelling.
Okay.
We took the first 12 people, interviewed them, and worked with that.
Well, darling, that's called instinct. All right? And really, when you're doing these kinds of films, when you're looking for truth in film, that often works the best.
I like the word instinct. I would actually also use the word authenticity.
Yes.
There's an authenticity. So for one thing, and we're all friends here, one thing that's a little different, people are a little bigger than if you'd cast it. I just think they're a little bigger. We chose the first 12 people. Many Americans are bigger these days, and that's okay.
reality.
And that's reality.
Thank
But
you.
I think if we had cast this, I think we naturally would have found people who were a little skinnier. But that's not America.
Right.
And then, so we finished and we're like, oh my gosh, I guess like 60-70% of our people, a little bigger.
Okay, so if we're going to talk about America being broke, and if you want to talk about Americans being big, let's just talk on the lower socioeconomic levels, often in their neighborhoods. What do you buy? McDonald's, KFC, fast food. Okay, I live in New York City. That stuff's there, but I really also have so many options. And they have already proven all over the country. You go into lower socioeconomic neighborhoods, so people are eating food that is basically unhealthy. And you know what? That is part of America being broke.
Right, and exactly. It has a longer shelf life. We live in Allentown, and our car. Long story. We didn't have a car for a couple weeks, and we realized we live in a food desert.
Oh yeah, that's what they call it, a food.
Yeah, it's
right,
because there were literally no. We spent maybe almost an hour one day just riding on our bicycles, not walking, out on our bicycles around our neighborhood, looking for anything that was fresh because friends were coming over, like anything, iceberg lettuce and a tomato.
Iceberg lettuce?
Anything.
It was reduced to iceberg lettuce.
Yeah, we were like anything, just not Doritos and Pop-Tarts and whatever, and there was just nothing within. We spent an hour and we gave up.
But that's a real issue.
Yeah.
That is a real issue and very reflective of what's going on in society right now. I can tell you the biggest news around here, there was going to be an opening of something and everyone was so excited. I think it was going to be a Taco Bell or it was another fast food chain, and it's like, people, wake up. I've spent time in the developing world, or what other people have called third world countries. The food is fresh.
Yeah.
They're eating a lot better.
Yeah.
So, the food is a big issue here. What other things do you talk about?
So the big things are healthcare,
Yeah, biggie.
and education, and then
We're on the same page here.
right. And then the third one was housing, of course. And with healthcare and education, I think was housing is the most difficult for me because it's just I have no idea what the solution is, and I know there's certain there's so many people that are. Allentown does not have as big a homeless population, but New York City is.
New York City, well, yeah, of course, because they're building multi-million-dollar towers that start, believe it or not, for a one-bedroom, $3.5 million. All right, my neighborhood, I don't recognize my neighborhood, and most of my friends are artists who are rent stabilized. Even that's become threatened right now. So what's going to happen to them? But I'll take you right here to Milford, Pennsylvania. You want to rent an apartment here? A kind of apartment will cost you $1,200 to $1,400 a month.
Wow.
That is right. You're shocked. That's absurd.
And so when I was again out of college, I was in a one-bedroom. I rented a one-bedroom apartment in Queens, and it would have been the same in parts of Manhattan for $650.
That's how mine was $500.
Right.
So there
and
you
now
go.
it's just. I mean, it's just you can't build what you can't get up. You can't get ahead with these challenges.
So you both got kids.
Yeah.
Like, what do you tell your kids? How do you give your kids knowledge to get around this?
So many people, well, you'll see in the film, a lot of people said, I wish my parents had taught me more about finance. Like one woman, she got a scholarship, went down to college, she only had to spend $2,000 a year or something.
Unbelievable.
But she didn't, she got a credit card, racked up $10,000 in debt, partied, dropped out of college, then suddenly because she dropped out, the scholarship was rescinded,
Absolutely.
and she ended up with $17,000 in debt.
Right, before she could even say hello.
So
right.
I think our kids, I mean, my father was really good about, never spend more money than you have. Or
Right. I came from that too.
Right, and I think unfortunately a lot of Americans, they don't have that warning, and the credit card companies and the banks and just there's so much.
Okay, but here's the thing, and I don't know if you talk about it in the film, but your kids grew up during a Kardashian era. They've been sold the fantasy. Okay, you go on Instagram, everybody's beautiful, right? So they're being sold not the real world, but the fantasy of a world, and the message now is you're not good enough unless you can do all of that. I even somebody like me, I can't watch those $1 million home listings or any of that. It's got nothing to do with my life and what I'm trying to do. When you and I were in school, we weren't told that. I was probably raised the same way you were. You don't want to have debt. You want to come out and get a job. But again, you were in a $600 a month apartment. I was in a lovely $500 a month apartment.
Where was that? Was it Manhattan?
Yeah, I was on 80th Street between Riverside and West End. Okay, it was beautiful with wood-burning fireplace, 12-foot ceilings, right? And you could do that, and I could work a couple of jobs, not like a dog, but a couple of jobs and pay my rent. Right. Now, how are they? Okay, I'm going to tell you another thing. I don't know what your kids studied in college, but this is another biggie for me. People that are studying finance are coming out and making a fortune. If you're going into the arts, forget about it.
Okay, so Alan went to Iowa State. He's a veterinarian. He was valedictorian.
Oh, he's smart. I'm next to a very smart person.
But I'm going to sound so obnoxious. So I went to Brown. The year I went in, it was the hardest college in the country to get into.
My daughter got into that school. Yeah. She went to Smith.
Yeah, but Brown and Stanford.
Yeah.
Okay, my kids went to state schools.
Right.
State schools.
Me too.
So much better.
Yeah.
They cost half the. And my son went to University of New York and he studied finance and did well. And he got a job out of college at the company that owns the New York Stock Exchange.
I love it.
So
right.
The point is, the fact that he didn't go to Harvard or MIT, it doesn't matter.
Thank you for blowing up the myth. Thank you. But the baloney is cut in their high schools. My daughter's high school was like nobody. I'm like, Kyle, a state school. Oh no. They had her looking at all these private schools. And you're right, City College, Hunter College, all in New York. They're excellent schools.
Much better. And again, if you go to like Harvard and study something studies, it doesn't necessarily get you a job.
Right.
And that's the thing that people don't understand.
My daughter's school did not deal with that. They were horrified that she wasn't applying to graduate school. When you go to Smith or Brown, that's what you do when you get out. You go. I said, we are tapped out. You're completely tapped out. It's done. You have to get a job. She's managed a wonderful job. She's a project manager for a great company. But she was not geared that way. I'm like, not everybody goes to graduate school.
40% of it, this is in the film, 40% of Americans who start college drop out. 40% who graduate don't need the college degree for what they do.
Love it.
Incredible.
We are myth busting here.
Yes.
Okay?
Thank you, Wendy.
The film is broke. And we are screening it right here at the Milford Black Bear Film Festival. If people want to see your film after, and I haven't asked a lot of the filmmakers this, like how do we find your film? Will it be available on Amazon, or how do they?
We're working on that.
We're going to the AFM, the American Film Market,
Yeah.
which is in Santa Monica in 2 weeks.
Oh my God! Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Good.
Thank you.
One of the things the films do, they tell the truth.
Yes.
And that's one of the most important things we have right now. We need to know the truth. Thank you both very
Thank you.
much. I can't wait to see your film.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, this is so exciting. I'm at the Black Bear Film Festival in Milford, Pennsylvania, and I ran into this group of extraordinary women who told me they are here from Egypt, and their category is student filmmaking, and the film is called Meraki, which means passion in Greek. You came all the way from Egypt. First of all, how far will a filmmaker go to get their film shown in a
12
festival?
hours. 12 hours.
It took a 12-hour flight here in coach. Oh yeah, I travel in coach too, so I can totally sympathize. Is this your first film that you've done?
This is the one that made it to here.
This is the one that made it to here. And what made you choose our festival?
Because it's a great one.
Of course it is. It is a great one, and I'm just completely blown away, really, to have you here and that you came so far. So, have you made a few films prior to this? Right?
We did in the earlier years in college. We did.
You guys they're so young. I mean, what did you start making films at like 10? 19.
19, yeah.
At 19, you started making films, and you started in college.
Yeah.
So you all went to school for filmmaking.
Yeah. Exactly.
In Alexandria, in Egypt, and Alexandria. This just gets more and more impressive. First of all, congratulations on having your film chosen to be here. Can you tell us a little bit about the film? Is there a plan that they have upstairs for all of us, or are we making our own plan? And you know what? That is something that no matter where you are in the world, I think every person thinks about that. So is your film a short?
Yeah, it is. It's a documentary. A docudrama.
It's a docudrama. Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, I must see your film. Very, very exciting. Now, you're not just coming to Milford, Pennsylvania. You have other plans while you're here, yeah?
Shopping till we drop.
Where are you going?
We're going to New York.
You're going to New York City. Yeah, I can't wait to go there. Is this your first time in the United States?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's absolutely so great. And I love that you picked Milford, right, to start your experience in the United States. I want to get everyone's name, and I told you I do terrible things to names, so I'm going to go right across and have everyone introduce themselves.
Okay, my name is Dalia.
Dahlia. Yeah. That's easy.
Dina.
Dahlia and Dina. Okay, I'm selling myself short. These are easy names. Yeah.
Basma.
Besma.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, my name is Farah.
Farah. Farah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. I'm doing. Yeah, and I'm Wendy. Oh my gosh, I haven't said my own name. Okay. So, what are your plans with this film? You now have a successful film, and it's a documentary. What are the plans going forward?
We're looking forward to get an award, of course. For the Oscars. Yeah. Maybe Cannes.
You want to go? Oh wait, I love that. You want to go to the Cannes Film Festival? Good for you, ladies. And the Academy Awards. They want to go to the Cannes Film Festival or the Academy Awards.
We want a star in Hollywood star.
Okay, Hollywood, Meraki will be starring in Hollywood. I just totally love your inspiration. So you have chosen in your life that you want to be filmmakers, yeah? Of course, it's really great. And now, I know a lot about different places in the world, and I know a lot about Egypt, but I don't know a lot about filmmaking in Egypt. What is it like for women filmmakers in Egypt?
A little bit, or it's hard.
It's hard
to be a filmmaker. Yeah.
Is it hard for just women, or it's hard for everybody?
For women,
Especially for women.
Especially for women. Yeah. What do you think makes it so difficult?
discrimination.
the discrimination,
Toxic
right?
masculinity. I can go over if you have time.
No.
Go on with my list.
Yeah, no, that's very interesting to us here because even in America, many years ago, it was, of course, harder for women. Now we have so many women filmmakers here, although, and I'm a member of New York Women in Film and Television because I make films too, but it's gotten, of course, 150% better here. We have so many powerful filmmakers here and in the movie industry that are women. But what you are all doing, we call it pressing against the glass ceiling. You're breaking the glass ceiling. Okay, and I'm sure like 20 years from now, you will have broken through and you will have paved the way for more female filmmakers.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah.
It's really quite wonderful. Listen, things in the world are evolving. And in the Middle East, right? It is changing, and you know this. Saudi Arabia has recently really opened up now for tourism. This is huge, and I think women can drive there now, right?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And I know what it was like. One of my best girlfriends lived in Saudi Arabia, and she would send me pictures of her. She had to be totally wrapped up when she went into the mall or anything. Yeah. She wore I want to say it correctly, a bila?
A veil.
Yeah. And she couldn't drive. It was but you know what? It was a very rewarding experience because she met women like you that were out there and educated, had a goal, and knew what they wanted to do next. So thank you for breaking the ground that you're breaking with your
having us.
Yes.
No, for your film. And obviously, now, do you have other films that you're planning for next year too?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, yeah. For sure. We haven't planned for the idea or something.
There are some drafts that aren't really out in the light, but we're working on it.
You're working on it, of course. Okay, and New York. What is the name of the film festival that you told me you're going to go to in New York?
Egyptian American Film Festival.
This is wonderful. When is this festival? November
4th of November. From 4 to 6.
So it's one day.
No, 3 days. No, from 4 to 6.
From November 4th to November 6th. That's really exciting, and it's interesting because if I hadn't met you, I wouldn't even know about the film festival. Okay, what we're learning is film brings us all closer together. It brings us closer in the world, and it makes us much more of a global world. That's why we make films. Ladies, keep making your films. Keep following your dreams, really. Thank you so much for being here. And your film is going to be screening. Oh my goodness. Get over there. Thank you all so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right. Eric Allen Rousseau has a film in the Black Bear Film Festival. It's called Lucky Doug. I'm going to let him tell you what it's about.
It's a story about Doug, who is a door-to-door cat food salesman. He finds out that he's going to be a father and realizes he's not really financially ready for that. And he makes the decision to become a millionaire. So that's what it's about.
Okay, so there's a lot of really funny premises here. I'm going to start with the cat food salesman.
Yeah.
What made you choose that as an occupation for your character?
We had a writing team, so we were bouncing a lot of different ideas off the wall and kind of, trying to figure it out. And I think that it just was like, we loved the idea of just a door-to-door salesman. And we're like, what's the most absurd, you don't even see door-to-door salesmen anymore,
right.
But what would it be? What would be the most absurd door-to-door salesman? And that was it.
I totally love that it was cat food. Did you ever show the brand of the cat food?
Yeah, it's called Kinky's Cat Food.
Okay, I had a reason for asking.
Yeah. Well, that's ultimately what he ends up, I guess technically, the one that he does door-to-door is just called Cats. But he ends up making another company called Kinky's.
All right, so Kinky's Cat Food, the way to make millions of dollars. But
right.
What happens to your salesman in this film?
Yeah, it's kind of your classic American dream, rise and fall kind of story, and with it we kind of see his struggles and his best moments and some of his worst moments, and and how he adapts through that time.
How his character changes.
Yeah,
right,
absolutely,
right.
absolutely, yeah.
So I unfortunately didn't get to see the film. I could have used a good laugh, especially we just came out of a documentary called Broke about how broken people are in America, how broken America is.
Sure.
And and it's kind of funny, you did a comedy about really the American dream.
Yeah,
the film that
totally.
we just saw was
Yeah.
about the American dream, the crashing of it,
Yep.
or the disillusionment of it.
Yeah.
Your film is really about the American dream.
It is, like, it's one of the funny things, like, one of the conversations that happened during the Q&A was, what is the film about? And, I think that, at the forefront it is about, like, putting, love and family and your chosen family first in front of, money. But, there is kind of this, like, backseat kind of story about kind of like an anti-capitalist, like, absurd satire.
Right.
So I think that's also going on as well.
So, how does your character end up? You can tell us.
Well, ultimately, I think.
Spoiler.
Yeah, ultimately, he things don't exactly end up great for him in terms of this new company, this new venture, but he does by the end find out that he really should just be focusing on doing everything he can for his family, because that was the whole reason he wanted to get rich in the first place.
Of course. We just saw a film about families just struggling in America, a documentary. Yours is a satire. What made you decide to choose a satire to do it?
Yeah, I mean, I think that with it, like, I do dramatic work as well, both stage and film and, fiction, but I think we wanted to have something that was just a little bit more lighthearted, something that was, like, approachable and enjoyable, and it, besides, like, a line here and there, like, it, it's also something that's it's like a PG-13, like, pretty, like, approachable for, like, anyone. Like, it's not officially rated that, but I think it would be. So it's good that it's, like, it can be enjoyed by pretty much anyone.
So more of an entertainment value. That was the focus. Now, what other projects have you done?
So this is the first feature.
Good for you! That round of applause, a labor of love.
Yeah, absolutely. And but a lot of I live in Austin, Texas. So a lot of kind of comedy, short film. They're working with the same kind of group, and want to continue to do that. Work with that same kind of group. We've got a really great community there, and just continue to, like, build things there.
Absolutely, and I'm very interested because you've referred to this group. Tell me about your group.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like a loose kind of collective. There's no, like, official name. We all, not all of us, but a lot of us met through this comedy community, Fallout Theater. In Austin, Texas. Yeah.
My background's in comedy.
Oh, there you go.
Right,
Yeah,
and all the people I'm working with right now, I just did a show at the Copa on Friday night, are all comedians.
Wow.
And it is unbelievable. We write together. I'm doing a part in a film Monday night from somebody that is part of that group also.
Exactly.
My group came together, and I had a reason for asking you this. My group, I met a bunch of them before the pandemic, and when the bottom was pulled out of everything for all of us, we started collaborating and doing shows on Zoom. And did you do that kind of thing?
I know that some of the folks in this kind of, like, circle did. For me, I was just so deep into the film because we shot right before the pandemic.
Okay.
So I was just focused on editing.
Yeah, well, you know what? It worked. The timing for you worked out perfectly because what could be better during a pandemic than to sit and edit? It's a great use of your time. So you came all the way up from Austin, Texas.
Yeah, we had a film festival last weekend in North Carolina, Raleigh. And so it kind of made, like, a mini little tour out of it.
Wow, and my gosh, Raleigh has been in the news lately.
Yeah, that's right. That was
shooting
right
there.
after. Yeah.
It's, you just never know anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
How much do you think that film can change the world, Eric?
I think that you put what you can forward and you see if it inspires anyone. And I think, for us, like, we again had this message of kind of, like, family and love and friends, above all else, and hopefully people enjoy that. And we'll see what happens beyond that.
I love talking to you. I have a great idea to finance your next film.
Great.
Kinky cat food.
Yeah, there
if
you
you
go.
sell a brand called Kinky Cat Food, trust me, it'll sell out on the name alone.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming to the Black Bear Film Festival. It's been
thrilled to be here.
Oh, we love that. Thank you,
Thank
Erin.
you. Yeah.
Hello, everybody. We're coming to you from the Black Bear Film Festival in Milford, Pennsylvania. 2022, I may happily add. My gosh, I've done so many of these, and you know what? They're always fabulous. But what makes a great film festival? Well, it's the people that are the intrinsic workings of that film festival. So we are going to sit and talk with Sarah Cohen and Matt Bechtold, and they're going to tell us a little bit what they do. All right, Sarah, you're on.
Hi, I'm Sarah. I'm the Volunteer Operational Manager. I've been the Volunteer Coordinator for many, many years, at least 20 years. I've been involved in the festival in some capacity. This year I did a little bit of the PR for the Black Bear Film Festival and a little more outreach than before. Got into getting some of the high school students to manage getting volunteers and making sure we got into that community, and yeah, it's just been about getting the community to come to us and for us all to get together and have a really good time.
Right, because you need the support of your people if you're going to do a film festival. Matt, what about you?
Again, Matthew Bechtold. I am the program director. It's my second year curating for the festival, putting together the films. Loved it and enjoyed it very much. I mean, it's been an incredible experience.
Really amazing.
Thank you, Greg.
That great choice of films. For both of you, I just saw the film Mama Bear. Now, how did that film affect you about, people that were religious Christians of LGBTQ kids who were not in support of their kids, and then just coming over to the other side and taking love and joy and spirituality and Christianity and making it about loving your child unconditionally? How did that film affect you?
For me, I think what it deepened my thought about, and which is so much about why I wanted to do this with Matthew, because he's film selection, and I think it brings our thoughts a little bit deeper on topics that may just pass through our day without us having to really reflect on a film about it. This film brought out the struggle, I think, about how it's not an easy stepping stone. It doesn't seem like people necessarily choose to be different. They may just be born to be a certain way, and then they need the world to open up and receive them and accept them.
Exactly. For both of you, I mean, I know you're both parents. Last year you had a brand new baby.
She was 2 weeks old last year.
I remember that.
Year. Yeah.
Do you think one of the things that you connected with, and this is for both of you, is the fact that you're both parents?
Absolutely. I mean, for me, it was a perspective of thinking how you have to accept your children and love them for anything unconditionally. And it's a powerful film because it just helps you realize that we don't have to be on opposite sides of any conversation, that we can have religious conversation or science, but we can all come together just to accept who we are and love them.
Right. And these are your kids, no matter what. And you have two little ones.
One.
You have one little one. You're surviving now, right? And you have a daughter that is she's a rock star. Yeah. She's unbelievable. She's what, 16?
She's 17.
17.
And you're in high school, looking at colleges.
Right, and she did a law program this summer, am I correct? In California.
Stanford.
A few of them.
Yeah.
So you know what, as parents, films speak to us. They speak to us whether we're parents or not. But as parents, this particular film, Mama Bears, all of us were connecting to the love that the parents have for their children. I think the unique thing about having a film festival, and you're both so involved in this, what do films do? They teach us how to communicate.
Absolutely, yeah.
They bridge and they bridge our worlds. So with that being said, for your particular job with the film festival, how do you think it bridges communication in terms of what you had to do with volunteer coordinator? Working with different personalities.
That's a really excellent question. I think so much is online right now, and so many people feel like our children should not be online. But what I found is that if you use it the right way, you can deepen the context of how you're communicating communicating with someone, and you can find other avenues to communicate with them that you may not be able to get out in speech. You can use visual effects. You can use really fast media. Really responsible calendars that just make everything so much easier to stay on top of.
Right. Right. Using the tools that you have, and you have a young child coming up. You're not into even the whole computer thing yet.
No, we're trying to do our best to not put an iPad in front of her, because I just don't think that's try to make her creative and do things that'll stimulate her mind, and not just have her be on a blank page staring at the screen.
Right.
It's very important to us because you see that, and they don't learn as much. They don't get to experience as much thought, obviously, staring at a screen. So trying to control that.
And obviously, for you, you're a creative person.
Yeah.
Being a creative person, you would want to nurture and grow that.
Yeah.
And
a coloring book, that's it's like I used to do when I was a kid. It makes you think and create.
Yeah, my sister and my niece did that. A lot
of kids don't use those sorts of things anymore.
Right. Your rankings are on pads and.
Yeah, it's not the same. Even people who, if you write, I like to do still pen to paper. I still like to do that old school kind of way, and not typing on a screen either myself. So I try to also control my screen time.
I think there's a balance between using something like we used this year, which was the first year we used sign up our volunteers.
Okay.
And that's really helpful because it's so easy for them to get online and sign up. But the most important thing is they need to come out. We need to get together, and we need to do this together.
Thank you for Sarah. Thank you. Yeah, I love. That's why I asked you the question, because with your job in particular, you really need to meet people face to face, and until you meet someone face to face, you don't know what their capabilities are. Even as a volunteer, this one person would be good being an usher, another person would be good giving out information, but I personally feel you can't tell that from an online application, and certainly with what you're doing, you need volunteers to run the festival. What kind of challenges have you run into?
I have to say I'm a pro. It goes by without a hitch.
She's a pro. Sarah is a pro. We have it on film, but she's a pro. Matt, as a curator of films, that can be a very dicey position. And here's why. Everyone's got a damn opinion, don't they? Oh, really? Yeah, right. Too many documentaries, too many this. Why did they choose that film? Oh, I would have never chose that for an opening. So, how do you, when you're thinking of the films that you want to put in the festival, what's your approach, and how do you deal with it? I'm sure people give push back and feedback. You get it from the board.
Yes.
How do you deal with it?
Yes. Well, I just go with my gut, go with my instinct, and I think I try to keep it to, like with Mama Bear's films like that, things that make you feel something, experience something, learn something, and I'm watching, this year we had 251 submissions.
Get out. Was that
They're not all feature length, a lot of them are 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But it's still a tedious process, but I enjoy it. Like I said, I learn a lot from it. So just trying to bring films that will make people think and feel the human condition is important.
The human right.
Yeah, just having documentaries. Yes, there were more this year than we did last year, but that's because those are the ones that I gravitated to.
I love a good documentary.
I'm a big good documentary person.
It's different than narratives because it's not something which are great too, but it's not something somebody created. They're real people, real stories, and to make a documentary film and make it interesting can be a challenge. But it's just real human stories.
Well, I think, Matt, the real human stories, and Sarah, I'm sure you agree about that, that's the inspiration. Like, you watch someone overcome something in a documentary, which is a true story, right? Yeah, we love our fantasies, we love our, narratives and all of that, but when you watch a documentary and you see somebody overcome a certain challenge they may have, or
and you relate to it.
You can connect to it, or you watch their struggle and how other people joining them, they all come together and they win at the end. That's especially now more than ever. This is where, for me, film speaks. Okay, I think we need film now more than ever. Films have always been, entertainment's always been there, but to me, the world changed during the pandemic. You know, we were lucky to have the festival last year, if you all remember.
We had really strict protocols.
I remember, right? Right, and we were lucky to have it. And yes, you're right, it went off very well. But now, you know, I don't want to say post-pandemic because now, I don't know, I call it coping pandemic. We're still not coping with it, the cope pandemic. But the festivals and the information and the hope that you need because you turn on TV, which I rarely do, by the way, but at the gym, you know, the news comes up and everything. And it's
depressing.
Like, I throw my towel over the monitor on the elliptical trainer because I didn't want to look at it. And I just had my headphones with good music.
Well, the key word you said was hope. And I think that's something that, for any kind of art, that's what I look for, is something that'll give me hope. And other people's strength, you experience that, and maybe makes you a little stronger, a little more accepting, and like I said before, you learn something, and hope. That's the best way to do it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think it's hope. And it's also to, like you were saying as well, finding out what the solution is, because sometimes you don't know until somebody models the solution.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, both of you in your other lives are involved in the arts. You're doing a lot of work with our theater in Damon's Ferry. All of a sudden, Sarah started popping up online, which I thought was terrific. I'm like, go girl. How wonderful we have a theater there now. We didn't have that. Right. It's great. It's really
a tiny little theater with a beautiful black stage that's very, clean, and they can put on all sorts of different shows. But then we also have the whole Pargathon with outdoor concerts.
Right.
And we fit 250 people out there, watching this stage, having picnics, and people are cracking open wine.
I love it. Well, any excuse to crack open wine.
Yep.
And in your day life now, what goes on in Matt's day life?
Well, obviously for the past year, it's been the baby.
Do you remember anything from the past
I
year
don't
with the
remember
baby?
my life pre-baby, but I am an actor, so I do
Yes, I know.
theater in the city in New York, and I did the last show I was able to do was last winter. But yeah, I hope to get back on stage and do some shows soon, if she lets me.
You totally will. What was the show that you did last winter?
It was called the Lanford Wilson Project.
Oh,
and it was a production of two of Lanford Wilson's plays. I was in Sympathetic Magic, which is a fantastic play. It was a great role. I
You
really
love the
enjoyed
role.
it. I love the role. I really did fall in love with it. So I hope we're going to bring it back at some point. But yeah, so we did two of Lanford's. The director, who's a good friend of mine, Bruce McCarty, knew Lanford Wilson personally when he was at the Circle Rep Theater. So they worked together, and he has actual rights to all his plays.
Oh my God, isn't that great? You know what I'm getting from both of you? We so need the creative arts to thrive. Certainly in the community here, it's a backbone. All right, and film
And if you educate the youth on, set building and acting classes,
Everything that goes into it.
everything that
all
goes
the
into
good
it,
stuff.
you're giving them so many skills for life outside the stage.
Absolutely, yeah.
I agree. I love these guys. They're great. Thank you so much. You're absolutely, both of you are delightful. Can you show us your Black Bear shirts? I have to get
This
one.
is this year's shirt.
My baby got some egg on mine. Far for the
Matt
course. All
came
my
to the
shirts.
interview with everything. I'm sure everything you own now is gunk on it.
You have no idea how many times that kind of thing has come up in conversation.
I love that.
Most of my shirts on the shoulder, and baby stuff.
But this is a good shirt because it's got so many colors on it already. You won't even notice the baby
I've
gunk.
noticed that this kind of logo has been used for so many things in Milford recently, and it's
Yeah, it's a really beautiful.
I love the shirt the minute I started. Who designed the shirt?
Well, it was a poster contest we did. We had a poster contest, and several people
Got it.
put their names in, and then this is one that won.
I totally love it.
We had about 6 entries, I believe. It was about 6 or 7.
Black Bear Film Festival 2022, Milford, Pennsylvania. Be there or be square. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy.